Hi lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a different sort of video, and we are going to be talking about my favorite books of 2022. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to log in to our Goodreads. As you guys can see, I've already got it pulled up. Currently, I'm reading two books, Monster High and Ever After High, The Legend of Shadow High. It's one of my favorites. I reread it every year. I normally read it in October, and I didn't get to it this year. And I am also reading A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophia Irwin. And that's a new read for me. Our Rowdy Readers adult book club for the library is reading it, and it actually looked interesting this time, so I figured I would give it a try. I don't know if I'll have it done in time for actual book club, as I have Bookie Monsters that I have to read for, and we are reading It All Ends With Us. Please send me good vibes. Some people have told me I'm going to love it. Some people have told me I'm going to bawl. So if you are a Colleen Hoover fan and you have insight to this, please comment below. So this year my goal was to read 75 books. I surpassed that 2 weeks ago, and I changed it to 80. Well, I just hit 80 today. I just finished a book. This book, actually, Robin Carr's Temptation Ridge. Yes, I am slowly working my way through the Virgin River novel series. So today I upped it to 90. I figured, you know what? I have 3 weeks left of the year, and 2 of those I will be very, very light on work. So might as well get some more reading in, and I'm hoping that I will hit that. If not, I'm still okay because I hit my 75, which is what I wanted. So all the books that I have read this year are in here in my 2022 reading challenge for Goodreads, and we are going to go through and I'm going to tell you what my absolute favorites were for this year. Some of them are children's books, as I am in charge of our YouTube channel for the library, and one of the things that we do is called Storytime Shorts, and it's basically short stories, children's books that I read online for the kids, and they're normally, the story itself is normally at least 10 minutes or less, but we call them Storytime Shorts. I do a Harry Potter read along. We read another Harry Potter book every year, and those are normal read alongs with us because they're about 30 minutes long to listen to. I also do other different books. I think we've done Jason the Stinky or something like that, and they're like small chapter books for early chapter book readers, and so those would be considered a normal read along, but our children's books, we call them Storytime Shorts. So there are a lot of children's books on here, as I keep track of those as well, so that one, I know that I'm not rereading a book, and 2, I did read it, so I'm gonna count it. Now, we had this ongoing thing, my best friend and I, and for every 5 children's books that you read, you could count that as 1 book. But Goodreads doesn't count it like that, so it just counts, so it's fine. All right, so let's see. I started the year off rereading the Vampire Academy series. I did read book 1 at the end of last year, and I finished it December the 30th. And I really kind of wish that I wouldn't have finished it until January the 1st, because then I could have counted that book. But it's fine. I did 2, 3, and 4 this year. My goal is to finish 5 and 6 before the end of the year. I do have those on my shelf, so they are ready to go, but I haven't finished them yet. They were good. I liked them. Let's see. Oh, my absolute favorite series of the entire year was the O'Malley series by Katie Robert. So this is the cover of the first one. It's called The Marriage Contract. The series is called The O'Malleys, and I loved it. I finished all 7 books in like 2 days, and I was obsessed. Anybody that's asked me for, like, I'm not normally a romance reader. I tend to stay in my fantasy YA area, but I have branched out this year into adult fiction, and I do enjoy the smuttier side of the romance books in the adult fiction. So this was my first series into that, and I am now obsessed with Irish mafia romance books. So if you got recommendations, please comment them down below because I am all for it. So the first one is called The Marriage Contract. Katie Robert is probably one of my favorite romance authors that I found this year. I have found a couple, but she's so far my favorite. I've read her Neon God series. I have read her O'Malley series. I read her, what was that one called? Dark. Now it's gonna bother me. So now we're gonna have to look it up. So I read the Neon God series. Her Wicked Villain series, that's the one. The Desperate Measures is the first one. I've read that series. I've read the Coming Undone series. I have not gotten into A Deal with a Demon. I have not read A Touch of Taboo. What was the other series that she had? Oh, this Dynasty one. I have not read that one either. So she does have another series, and it's like her very first series. I haven't started it, but it's also not, it's not in the same genre that she writes now. So I'm not sure I will read that one. But let's see. The little blurb about this begins with a smoking hot new series about the O'Malley family. Wealth, powerful, and dangerous, and seething with scandal. Teague O'Malley hates pretty much everything associated with his family's name, and when his father orders him to marry Callista Sheridan to create a business alliance, Teagan's ready to tell his dad exactly where he can stuff his millions. But then Teagan actually meets his new fiancée, sees the bruises on her neck and the fight still left in her big blue eyes, and vows he will do everything in his power to protect her. Everyone knows that the O'Malleys have a dangerous reputation, but Callie wasn't aware just what that meant until she saw Teague, the embodiment of lethal grace and coiled power. His slightest touch sizzles through her, but the closer they get, the more trouble they're in, because Callie's keeping a dark secret, and what Teague doesn't know could get him killed. So it is a fantastic series. Again, read all 7 books in a matter of 2 days. There is The Marriage Contract, The Wedding Pact, An Indecent Proposal, Forbidden Promises, Undercover Attraction, The Bastards, and The Bastard's Bargain. I thought there were 7. There are 6. I apologize. So it follows each of the O'Malley children and their pursuit in their family. My favorite out of the whole series was The Wedding Pact. It follows the second oldest, and I absolutely love her character. I love her spunk. I love her attitude. She is by far one of my favorite characters through this whole series, including, the protagonist. Her name is Kerrigan O'Malley, and you have to read it, okay? It's just 10 out of 10. Highly would recommend. I will probably reread this series at some point, but I absolutely loved it. So yes, 100% the O'Malley series by Katie Robert. I loved The Inheritance Games. It's a trilogy. The Inheritance Games, The Hawthorne Legacy, and The Final Gambit. Beautiful series. Beautiful. Would totally recommend it. I absolutely loved it. Let's see. This is the cover for the first book in the series. It says The Inheritance Games. She came from nothing, they have everything, and let the games begin. It's by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and the little blurb about it says this. Avery Grambles has a plan for a better future. Survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her fortune changes in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves Avery virtually his entire fortune. The catch? Avery has no idea why or even who Tobias Hawthorne is. To receive her inheritance, Avery must move into a sprawling, secret passage-filled Hawthorne house, where every room bears the old man's touch, and his love of puzzles, riddles, and codes. Unfortunately for Avery, Hawthorne House is also occupied by the family that Tobias Hawthorne just dispossessed. This includes the 4 Hawthorne grandsons, dangerous, magnetic, brilliant boys who grew up with everything except that one day they would inherit, with the expectation that one day they would inherit billions. Heir apparent Grayson Hawthorne is convinced that Avery must be a con woman, and he's determined to take her down. His brother, Jameson, views her as their grandfather's last hurrah, a twisted riddle and a puzzle to be solved. Caught in a world of wealth and privilege with danger around every turn, Avery will have to play the game herself just to survive. 5 stars isn't even enough to rate this book trilogy. I would give it like 11 out of 10. Beautiful book, beautifully written. I loved the mystery. I loved the romance in it. And again, I am not a romancy person, but it was just enough to keep the whole storyline interesting. So would highly recommend that trilogy as well. Let's see. Hard as It Gets is by Laura Kay. I started the first book. I finished the first book. I had no desire to pick up the second one. It wasn't that it was a bad series. It wasn't that it was a bad book. It just did not hold my fancy. I gave it 5 stars because the book itself was beautifully written. I guess it just wasn't my cup of tea. So I think that's the only series that I started and didn't finish this year. Because normally I'm like, if you start the series, you have to finish the series. I'm also one of those people that when a new book of the series comes out, like The Final Gambit and the Inheritance Games, I had to go back and read the first 2 before I would let myself read the third one because I wanted to make sure that it all made sense. But yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Bravely by Maggie Stiver. Oh my gosh, I loved this one as well. I was going through such a bad reading funk when this book came out, and I asked my director to get it, and of course she did, because it's very rare that I'm like, I want this book for the library. So when it came in, of course I checked it out. I devoured this whole book in like 2 days. I could not put it down. It totally broke me out of my reading funk, and I absolutely loved it. If you love Disney, if you love things that are magical with fairies and Ireland, and just 10 out of 10. Totally recommend. Gotta get this book, guys. Oh, I didn't even rate it. Oh, look, there we did. Okay. All right, let's see what else. In the Company of Witches is a new debut author. Well, she's not a new debut author, but she was for me. This was a new series that she started, In the Company of Witches. Oh, beautiful. It's called The Evening Fall Witches B&B. There are 2 out now. When the Crow's Away is the second one. I have it on hold. It hasn't come in yet, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Nora, her aunt. Oh, she's my spirit animal. I love her. She's got sass and spunk, and she's got a bad temper, and she's got a sharp tongue, and I loved her. So it says, when a guest dies in the B&B she helps her aunt's run, a young witch must rely on some good old-fashioned investigating to clear her aunt's name in this magical and charming new cozy mystery. For 400 years, the Warren witches have used their magic to quietly help the citizens of the sleepy New England town of Evenfall thrive. There's never been a problem they couldn't handle. But then Constance Graves, a local known for being argumentative and demanding, dies while staying at the bed and breakfast that Bryn Warren maintains with her aunts. At first, it seems like an accident, but it soon becomes clear that there's something more sinister at work, and Aunt Nora is shaping up to be the prime suspect. There's nothing Bryn wants more than to prove Nora's innocence, and it hurts her to know that even 2 years ago that it might have been easier. Bryn, after all, is a witch of the dead, a witch who can commune with ghosts. Ghosts never remember much about their deaths, but Constance might be remembering something about her life that would help crack the case. But Bryn hasn't used her power since her husband died, and isn't even sure she still can. Bryn will just have to hope that her aunt's magic and her own investigative skills will lead her to answers, and maybe back to the gift that she once thought herself ready to give up forever. Loved it. Okay, yes, must read. This was as I was gearing up for Halloween. Merry Witchmas, How to Catch a Witch, Witch's Stew. Ooh, Witches of Brooklyn. Yes. I am not a graphic novel person either. I do not do manga, which my best friend was like totally into, and she kept trying to get me to read different mangas, and I just could not. But I am starting to dabble in the graphic novel area, and one of my favorites this year was Witches of Brooklyn. It looked so cute because I was gearing up for Halloween and I was checking out all these witchy books, and this one came up, and at first I didn't know it was graphic until it came in, and then I was like, oh, okay. So at first I thought I was going to hate it just looking at the pictures inside, but after I actually started sitting down and reading it, there are 3 books out. I own all 3 now. So we've got Witches of Brooklyn, you've got Witches of Brooklyn What the Hex, and Witches of Brooklyn S'more Magic. So another one is supposed to be coming out next year, and I cannot wait for it to come. And book 3 leaves you on a cliffhanger. So Sophia, please hurry up. Your girl be waiting. So this is the cover. And it says, there's a new witch in town. Life in Brooklyn takes a strange turn when Effie discovers magic runs in the family. A middle grade graphic novel adventure filled with magical hijinks for fans of Phoebe and her unicorn and making friends. Effie lost her mom, lost her home, and now she has to live with 2 strange aunts who she's never met before. Life in Brooklyn takes a strange twist for Effie as she learns more about her family and herself. With new friends who will do whatever they can to be there for her, a cursed pop star, and her new magically inclined family, Effie's life is about to get interesting. And interesting it does. So, be sure what happens, check it out, let me know what you think. Let's see. When Numbers Met Letters, such an adorable children's book. 10 out of 10, would recommend. As you guys know, I have started like researching my personal style, how to find your personal style, how to identify your personal style, etc. Because I'm tired of having like hodgepodge things in my closet. I want like a more uniformed style so that when somebody's shopping, they're like, oh yeah, Ashton would totally wear that. Like, I want my vibe, and I've been having a hard time finding it. One of the books that I read this year in search of that was this, What I Wore, 4 Seasons, 1 Closet, Endless Recipes for Personal Style. I bought this book. Loved it. Jessica, you are a genius. One of my outfits that I wore this week, actually the one I'm wearing now, was inspired by that. I will leave a picture in my vlog video, which will be Friday, so make sure you look for that. But it is such a cute read. She makes it funny. She keeps it interesting. She makes it understandable for people that have no idea what they're talking about. I am new to fashion. I am a new fashionista, and this has become my fashion Bible. Love it. She gives you checklists on basic things that you should have in your closet. She gives you lessons on how to pair different things. She explains to you why you should do certain things and why you shouldn't do certain things. She came from the fashion world. She had a huge fashion blog. Loved this book. I did start and will not be finishing the Promised Neverland manga series. Was not my forte. See, Witches of Brooklyn. I did finally read Witches of East End. I have not finished the series, but I did finally read it. The goal was to read the first one. I liked the first one. After I started reading the synopsis of the rest of the series, I just didn't feel the need to continue on with it. I did watch the TV series, loved the TV series. The book is definitely different than the TV series, as most books and movies are. I have to say that I think I probably liked the TV series better than I liked the books. I did start book 2, and it was not holding my interest whatsoever. But I did finish Witches of East End. And Melissa De La Cruz is one of my favorite authors, so the fact that I was not like gung-ho to finish this kind of hurts my soul a little. So Melissa, I'm sorry. Let's see. Ghost in the House. Oh. This was one of my besties and I's favorite books, Ghost in the House by Amy Joan Paquette. It's a very cute book. Very, very cute children's story. Garlic and the Vampire. Oh my gosh, this is another one of my favorite graphics for this year. It was adorable. It's by Brie Paulson. She is a new debut author. She does graphic arts and illustrations and such. That's what she does for a living. It's what she went to school for, and she decided she was going to write a graphic novel. So Garlic and the Vampire is the first one. The second one is Garlic and the Witch. Both are adorable, and I cannot wait for book 3 to come out. So this is the first one. And the second one just came out. It's called Garlic and the Witch. It's very cute. Oh my gosh, okay. So this is not a favorite read whatsoever. I got like 3 chapters in. This was the worst book that I probably read this year. I'm not gonna lie. And I like Kendare Blake. So, you know, that kind of hurts my soul that I have found a series and I'm like, no. And I love like all things mythology, like Rick Riordan, favorite author. I have read every single book that he has come out with except for his adult series. But I love all things mythical. Like, you give me Greek mythology, you give me Roman mythology, Norse mythology, I don't care what it is. I am into it. So the fact that this is one of my favorite authors and one of my favorite topics, and the fact that I hated it, broke my heart. I gave it 1 star. And if I could, I'd give it like a half a star. So yeah, it broke my heart. But I liked her 3 Crowns series. I liked her, what's the other one? Anna in Blood. Yeah, Anna Dressed in Blood. Loved it. And I am not a horror person, like a horror reader, and I actually really enjoyed that. Goddess Wars, and I just was not. All of these bodies I have not read yet. I did get it for the library. I just haven't read it yet. In Every Generation, love that one. It's about it's basically a Buffy Vampire Slayer retelling. So if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you would like that. Yeah, I think that's all she has. Oh, and she's got like, what are those called? Anthologies, compilations, whatever they are, where it's multiple things in one. So yeah, I really enjoy her books, but I could not get into the series whatsoever. We read it for a book club for Bookie Monsters. We all hated it. Sorry, Kendare. I'm sorry. Don't come for me. Ghoul Friends. I always love reading this series. It's a 4-book series by Giddy Dane Shivari. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. But there are 4 books. It follows the Monster High series. Ghoul Friends Forever, Ghoul Friends Just Wanna Have Fun, Who's That Ghoul Friend, Ghoul Friend Till the End. And then they have like a do-it-yourself. It's got different crafts you can do. I loved it. It was very cute. Oh, and you guys know that I love My Magic Tree House. It was one of my favorite books growing up. And now that they're making it into graphics, I can't help but reread the series. So I did read both of those. Oh, this one was cute. I have read the Monster High Monster Rescue series all the way through. I could not find Track Down Twyla for our library anywhere. So I thought I was going to have to go and buy it. Well, I started reading another series. And I read these at the beginning of the year, this series. And when I was going back through looking at what books I had read for the year, what series I needed to like finish up, this is one of them. And I couldn't believe that I had totally forgot about it. So I totally forgot that I could not find it in the library and went on to search it, and it was there. Another library in our consortium had bought it, and I was so excited. So I put it on hold. I loved it. It was adorable. It is good for young girls who are very introverted and don't necessarily like to go out and do things. They're more of a homebody. They would relate to Twyla so much. See, Garlic and the Witch. And then the rest of these are like kids books that I have just read because I was getting ready for the books for next year for our YouTube channel. So the rest of these are kids books, but those are my favorite books so far this year. I will be doing an Instagram post about my December favorites, and then you will also see my favorite book of the year. Like I have one of those like March Madness track down things, like these are the books that I read, this is, how they're coming down, this was my favorite book. So be sure to look for a post for that. If you guys want me to post it here on YouTube as well, just let me know and I will make sure that I do that. But let me know what your favorite books for this year were and what you're looking forward to for next year. And I will see you guys for another video tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a great day and I will see you later. Bye, lovies.